Alright guys, take a look at all these bikes. Today we're going to ride this one right here, this big green one. This is the Road Glide Limited. Look at how big that thing is. So the difference between the Road Glide and the Street Glide is on the Road Glide you have the fixed fairing that doesn't turn with the steering wheel. On the Street Glide, the fairing is actually attached to the steering wheel, the handlebars, the forks. So it'll actually, the fairing will turn with it on the Street Glide, not on the Road Glide. That's pretty awesome. And Limited is, you actually, the Limited's an upgrade, so the Limited actually has the touring pack on this, which is this back here. Lots of storage space. You can go camping with this. You can go to the grocery store and load up. Look at this big old thing. Wow. All right, so you have to kind of watch these full dressers because they're a little bit top heavy. So you definitely have to be careful that if you start leaning, you correct so you don't tip it over. All right, so to turn it on, you just go one. If you go two, that's actually just the accessory. So you don't want to go just one, and you have all the lights and everything. There's actually a stereo on this one. I had to turn the stereo off. All right, then to turn it on, you turn it on here, and then this is the on button. You have to make sure it's a neutral. Pull in the clutch. Oh yeah, pretty smooth, pretty smooth. This has got a really big dash on it, and this looks like it comes right about perfect. I could just barely see over the windscreen, so I'm thinking we'll have maybe no buffeting on something like this. If it's a little bit too low, I get some buffeting on some of the lower fairings on some of these dressers. It's got some big floorboards, a little bit of shake, not too bad. All right, it's got your standard Harley Davidson mirrors on it. Pretty standard. Sometimes they're really tough to move. All right, so we're going on a self-guided tour today. All right, you got the normal clunk, shifting it into first gear, which is pretty normal for Harley Davidson. Then I always like to look at the clutch, how far out you have to actually move the clutch, and it looks like right about there. Not too bad. Maybe about inch and a half on the clutch. So that's pretty nice. All right, so let's go. All right. Pretty smooth. See what the back brakes are like. I did notice my knees are pretty high in this, almost above the gas tank. So I'm actually pretty big. I'm 6'4", 235 pounds. So the one thing I really don't like about a lot of these floorboards is it seems to bring my knees like really high up above the gas tank. This one, I don't know if you can lower them down, but this one seems a little bit high for me. Look at that air filter kind of jiggling around there. You definitely get some vibration on this. The seat is super comfy, super comfy. It's like you're sitting on one big pillow. This is the Road Glide Limited 2022. This is a 2022 model. Pretty nice. I feel like I still hear some radio. Wow. It's got some pickup and go. It's got the 114 engine. 114 is pretty powerful. Handles the corners like smooth as silk. Pretty awesome. Back brakes are nice. Back brakes are nice. Yeah, for some reason the radio came back on. I could hear the radio. It's a little bit confusing with the whole dash and everything there. All right, so we're gonna take a right here and go up this way. Nice. The seat is super comfortable. I can't believe how comfortable this seat is. Wow. It's got some pretty good pick up and go. Pretty nice. It's got a pretty nice rumble to it too, which I like. You know, some of the newer ones, they don't have that much of a like a rumble to it. This, he said it was stock on this one, so I'm actually surprised it has so much of a rumble for being stock. Alright, so I gotta get used to this bike a little bit here. Around the corners, it's like, I feel like I'm kind of like steering a boat. It has kind of a, it's interesting how it just kind of goes down the road like a boat. Kind of just floats. It kind of has the same kind of if you look at the vibration coming up from the bike and the handlebars, there is none. It's just like floating on glass, kind of like the Road King. The Road King was kind of similar to this, where you're just kind of floating on glass, super smooth. It's pretty amazing. So a lot of these bigger bikes, they don't have quite the pickup because they have so much weight to them, and it's hard to really get the acceleration unless they have like an upgrade with like a stage 3 where they, you know, change out the cam and the air filter and the exhaust, give it a little more power. Yeah, but this is really nice, really nice. So this one, I would say, is up there with the like the Ultra Limited, where you could definitely do some cross country on this. This is almost car-like. It's like a car with 2 wheels. It's so smooth. It's like you don't even feel like you're on a motorcycle. It's pretty interesting. It's got a pretty good rumble to it going down the road. Not too bad, not too bad. I'd say it's probably one of the louder Harley Davidson stock from the factory, which is interesting, especially when it comes to big dressers like this, the big baggers. Man, this thing is really smooth. I almost feel like the seat could go, I wish I could put the seat back a little bit more, because I'm so tall. I'm kind of like, I feel kind of scrunched on this, just because I'm used to like way out. I'm used to be I'm used to like some of them, like the bike that I ride is actually kind of stretched out a lot more than this one. Seems like the clutch is a little bit easier on this one. I think it's because it kind of kicks in sooner. You don't have to put the clutch out so far to engage it. So when you actually come up to a stop sign, like the extreme slow speed stability on these the ones with the big fairings, it's kind of hard because you almost start like feeling like you're going to tip over, because it's got a lot of the top weight on the top of the fairing. Yeah, not quite as much pickup as some of them with the 114, just because this is such a big bike. But plenty of pickup. I'd say probably faster than most cars on the highway. Definitely fast enough. Pretty nice. It seems like this is one of the more stable ones in the corner. If you actually compare this one, this is the Road Glide, you compare it to the Street Glide, as far as kind of the stability, as far as like around the corners, it seems like this one's a little better. I think mainly because the fairing on this one is more attached to the frame. And on that one, it seemed like I was getting a little bit of buffeting, but you can kind of feel the buffeting coming through the steering, to where going around the corners you didn't quite feel as stable. It seems like on this one, since the whole fairing is attached to the frame, it seems like the steering is much more stable around the corners. I think it comes down to how they attach the fairing. This one seems like it's louder than the streak line. This one seems bigger than the streak line. I don't know if it's could be from the taller windscreen. This one's pretty nice. Let's see, what else can I tell you about it? You got some gauges, fuel gauge. You got the voltmeter, mile per hour over here on the left. You got the RPM. I love the RPM as kind of a dial instead of a digital. On some of them, I've seen one of them, I can't remember which one it was, but it actually had a digital speedometer that was kind of buried in the gauges, and you really couldn't see it. I think it was the Sportster S, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But yeah, I definitely love the gauges. It's just so much easier to read. And the other thing I like is it's kind of up on the handlebars where the speedometer is. It's not down in the gas tank, so you don't really get distracted trying to figure out how fast you're going. So that's nice on this one. You can definitely see everything really nice. It's easy to see. And I think we're coming up to our stop here. So I'm actually going to turn around right here. So we'll see how it turns around in a smaller space. I've been turning around here. So kind of get an idea of the turnaround capability of different bikes. And this one, it's a little bit more challenging, I'd say, just because it's a big bike to kind of turn around. I was afraid I was going to hit my knees on this handlebar, but look at that, there's plenty of room here, so that's not really a problem. Yeah, a little bit harder in small spaces. Probably one of the hardest, I'd say. I'd say probably one of the slowest for the 114, just because it's probably the biggest bike. There's a lot of weight. Still fast enough though, plenty fast enough. Alright, I'm going to crack my visor a little bit just because I'm steaming up. One hand waves, easy as glass, easy as pie. This thing is like, I don't know, this might be as smooth as the Ultra Limited. The Ultra Limited is pretty much the smoothest one that I've ever been on. Yeah, this is even better than like the Honda Goldwing, I think. I was on the Honda Goldwing last year, and it seemed like, you know, a lot of people say that the Honda Goldwing is really smooth, but it seems like the one that I took out, it seems like it's really smooth on the small bumps, but not really that smooth on the real big bumps. So you get some bigger bumps on the Goldwing, and it kind of throws you around a little bit, versus on a lot of these Harleys, it seems like they're smooth on the, you know, on the small stuff and the big stuff. It's almost like they have the advantage over the Goldwing. And I'd say probably the two smoothest ones as far as dressers would be this one, which is the Road Glide, and the Ultra Limited. Both of them are kind of like car-like, I guess you'd say. Really super smooth. Feels like you're driving a car, kind of. It's interesting. The other one that was really smooth was the Road King Special. It didn't have the, the fairing or anything. It was just the... Yeah, this is pretty nice. There's like no buffeting at all. Like no wind, hardly at all. So I've been driving for what, 20 minutes maybe? The seat is still super comfortable. It's nice and wide, like a big pillow. You could definitely go all day on this thing. So I wish the handlebars were a little bit more forward on this one, and I wish the floorboards were a little bit lower. I guess just because I'm so big, I'm 6'4". I feel a little bit scrunched. If you actually change the handlebars out and put them up like 3 or 4 inches, and then move the floorboards down. Personally, I'd rather have pegs on any bike. I'm sure you could put pegs on something like this, but most people have the floorboards. So would I buy this bike? Yeah, I would buy this bike if I was doing a lot of cross-country stuff. So mostly what I do is kind of short distance. I usually don't ride for more than half hour, 45 minutes at a time. I do go on a lot of highways, but I do go through a lot of parking lots and stuff like that. So I'm not sure this would be the best for like in the city where you have a lot of parking lots and slow speeds. This is more of your like highway cruiser, I'd say. Where you're going on a really long road trip. If I was going to Sturgis or something like that, it was like, a 10-hour drive or 12-hour drive, I would definitely get on something like this and ride to Sturgis. So I feel just a little bit of wind up, maybe like down my sleeves, maybe around my elbows. It looks like it has almost complete protection for the wind for your legs. Like if you tuck your legs up against the gas tank, you have like almost complete protection. Like if you were in a rainstorm, I'd say you'd probably be pretty protected on this thing. Most bikes, they'll have the fairing, but they'll have the open legs, where if you got in a rainstorm, your legs would get soaked, but the rest of you would stay pretty protected. This one, I think you can handle rain and hail and pretty much whatever it threw at you. This has I'd say this bike has probably the most sensation where you're actually floating on a cloud versus any other bike that I've been on. It's kind of interesting. It's like a different sensation. Almost like, I guess you'd say like a plush ride, super plush. But it's funny, it kind of still has that roar to it. Has a little bit of a roar, but it's like a super plush ride. Very plush. Even the seat is like I feel like I'm sitting on a pillow. Like one of the best pillows you can get for a motorcycle. That's what the seat feels like. It's kind of amazing. Pretty nice. The only thing on these, you definitely have to watch that you don't drop it. You start dropping one of these and you ain't gonna catch it. That's the thing. Because that front fairing is just so heavy. It just pulls you down. That's the other thing about like a heavy fairing like this, going around the corners. It seems like the fairing almost helps you go around the corner because it kind of puts that extra weight into the lean, which is kind of an interesting sensation where it almost seems like you can take corners better on the highway with a big fairing like that. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, so you have to be really careful. You almost have to have a little bit of experience on one of these so you don't drop it. I remember when I first started riding these baggers, it's like, you know, with the big heavy fairing, it's almost like you have to really be careful on the, you know, pulling up to a stop sign, putting down a foot, that you don't, you know, that you're completely straight up. Alright, so yeah, this is probably an expensive bike too. I'll actually put all the I'll put all the specs below. I think one of the reasons people don't get something like this is because of the price. These are pretty expensive bikes, you know, versus some of the more inexpensive ones. Alright, we are back with the other demo bikes. So this is Harley Davidson's demo days, going through all the different bikes. I don't know where he wants me here. Maybe right here. So that is a pretty awesome bike. Alright, so let's see how easy it is to put into neutral. Let's see. Where is the neutral light? There it is, right there. So it took me 3 times to put it into neutral. You kill it right here. Turn it off right here. Alright. That is an awesome bike. You kind of have to watch these because they're so heavy that you don't drop it. You definitely don't want to lay one of these down. Alright. So there you have it. That is the Harley Davidson 2022 Road Glide Limited. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.